Hello again. So this is Anja and I welcome you back. Today I will talk about the 20th rune of the Futhark, and it's in a second Aetir, the third Aetir, I apologize. So we started our path with planting the seed, right? And then we cleaned up what no longer served us or what was not needed, and we started our new path. So, and this is where we become aware of who we really are. So, and today, therefore, I will talk about the Rune Mannaz. So, Mannaz stands for man. Not the man, I mean man as a mankind. So, it has male energy. Its element is the air. And its tree, it's the grapevine. And the grapevine, therefore, is also what I will talk about regarding healing. So, let's begin. So, if you want to take a look at it, the image of the rune is like a double X or two crescent moons. So, and that's a symbol of the other world. This rune is about your importance and your position and your place in this society right now. So, and like the divine descent of men, like intelligence, traditions that we all have, and since it's a mirror rune, it reveals your real being. So what it tells you, it's time for you to claim your fate. So you have to go your way now, right? Remember, I said we started walking our path here. So and equal body, mind and soul, and open yourself to the spiritual world as well. So listen to your teachers, and this is up to you who it is. Is it people with experience? Is it your higher self? Is it your spirit guides? So, but recognize the good and the evil, because both are part of your life. So opening of the inner eye and the connection of the human to the divine. And I'm saying open the inner eye for purpose. So this will help us to reveal ourselves, you know. So Mannaz stands primarily for the meaning and the importance of one's own social position and that of the people, as I mentioned before. Because we are social beings and ultimately dependent on each other. So Mannaz stands for humanity and therefore for all of Midgard. And as I said before, translated, Mannaz means man. But also the male and female human pair are represented here. So the rune shape is to symbolize a marriage. So, and it follows up actually to Eva's that I talked about last week. So, and what I mean with marriage is either between, you know, heaven and earth or human couple. So, and that's why, and Mannaz is also called the mirror rune because it shows us our true nature. So, but we do not have to be afraid of it. And I feel that mostly this is our biggest problem, that we don't open our inner eye because we're afraid what we could find, right? We're always so dependent on what others think of us. So, that we totally forget who we really are. And this is what this rune is about. It will help us to show us who we truly truly, really are. And therefore it's important to recognize both in us, the dark and the light. So again, you don't have to be afraid of it, because we are at peace with ourselves, even though we don't recognize it yet. But this is just because, we weren't taught to be like that. We were taught, what others would think about us, what others want from us, how others would like us. You know what I mean? So in our behavior towards other people is also shaped by manas. So openness and tolerance allows us to respect all people as equal. You know where I'm going here. So no one is better than the other. We are all walking our path. We all need to experience our own way to become who we really are. I'm sorry, I'm having problems to talk tonight or something. So, and in a more practical sense, mana stands for the people with whom one has a connection. So, could be the family, the friends, and the clan. And the persons who remind the person that he is by nature. So, by nature, he's an animal with a social structure. The shape of the rune symbolizes the marriage between heaven and earth, as I said, or the divine or human couple, right? So the rune can refer to an individual or a group as standing for the human being, and thus therefore symbolizes the position of the human being in the creation. So, and depending on one's social environment and the circumstances of life, man is not made to be isolated. It is defined by an interaction with other people and groups. So, but yet, we shouldn't be, like I said before, we depend on what other people think of us, and we act so people will like us, or what people like to hear. So this is not what I'm talking about here at all. So Mannaz shows us the interior, the relationship on which the individual depends in the surrounding nature. And in the clan, for example, also the ancestors are included. So in their memories and experiences as well. So altogether there is a treasure of knowledge hidden with us, within each of us, within each individual. So, and to develop this knowledge, it requires a deep understanding of one's own subjective connections. You know where I'm going here. So don't depend on what others think of you or how they would like you. Once you understand where you're coming from and where you want to go, this will automatically give you a position in that clan, in your family, in your friends. You will find your place there, because whatever it is you're bringing to the table here, this is what makes you, not what others think of you. I hope it makes sense. So, and therefore Mannaz becomes the gate through the integration of the ancestors into the clan, and which leads the old knowledge, it's like the access to the memory or the collective subconsciousness. So the informations are available, but this is why it's so important also to open our inner eye. I hope I make any sense. So really, it's all inside of you, and you're worth it, and you don't have to be afraid. And in the second ayat here, we relieved all what we don't need anymore. So what you have now, it's beautiful, it's all there. Now you can integrate it in your in your clan, in your family, and bring your knowledge in, and whatever it is you have, whatever talent, or just being you. You know what I mean? So, and Mannaz will help you with that. And I always talk about old ancient festivals like Samhain, that we call Halloween today. This is a perfect time to connect with your ancestors, because you're always connected to them. So somewhere along in our blood, we carry informations from our ancestors. We carry it, part of it in our soul and our spirit, because it's all connected. So, and from a mythology point, the runes stand next to man, also for the divine ancestors, like I said, and the heavenly father, like the source, and therefore also the connection of humans with the gods and the nature, of course. So it takes and this rune takes the wild energy of Evas, the one I talked before, and it controls it through a social consciousness, like a network. It reminds of those who are influenced by deeds, magical as well as worldly. Like, so it's not always only spiritual, right? It's worldly as well. We want to balance that. It's not good to always and only live in a spiritual world, like constantly doing meditation or connect with your spirit guides or with your higher self. It's very important to realize, there are worldly tasks to be done. So, and I mentioned that before, it's very, very important to balance that out because you will get lost at one point. And I want to say sick, mentally sick. So because at one point you will like it too much and you will not want to come back. So this will be a complete soul loss and end up in mental sickness. And the rune itself is similar to Gibo, so in uniting female and male elements, but it's more complete in this union. So this is more like the final. So it is a complete web of human relationship with the self in the center, right? And reflecting the web of face explored by Raido. And when you entered the net, it was more or less solid, but this one is agile and alive. So it's like past and present, male and female, the self and the others. So all opposites are connected and put together here, because we are all one, right? And this is why I preach balance all the time. And now I just said it, right? I always say I'm not a preacher, but then I say I preach it. But you know what I mean. So Mannaz is the home of the self and speaks to everyone who has reached this through the gift of the runes. So our whole journey, our connection to the net or to the web, not worldwide web, I'm talking the web, the net. Like weaving, right? We wove a net. So so all opposites are connected and put together here, like I said. And Mannaz is the home of the self and speaks to everyone who has reached this through the gift of the runes. I just want to repeat that again, because I find it's very important. So in case you were listening and you worked through the AATs with me here. So Mannaz is the mystery of the divine structure in every individual being, and humanity, of course, in general. So this structure is given by the god Heimdall as the ancestor of humanity, and I'm getting to him in a bit. So a description of this you can also find in the older Edda, the Rigsstula. So for anyone who would like to get into the Edda. So it describes how Heimdall produces the archetypal representatives of these three social functions in the human world. So it's like the breadwinner, the warrior, and the priest. So, so this is, what we're going through in these Aetirs, right? And he reflects the three level of the, and this reflects the three levels of the divine structure. So, and and everyone speaks about Odin the All-Father, but that doesn't mean that he is the All-Father of creation, right? But I talked about him before, so you probably understand what I mean. So Heimdall is actually the one or you could say he's actually Odin in one of his many forms of expression, and that is that of the primal and all-father. So but I'm getting to Heimdall in a bit. So actually he's like the creator, if you want to see it, but mostly no one really speaks about it. So the Mannaz rune depicts a symbol of Heimdall as a genetic link between gods and humans, and guardian of the rainbow bridge, Bifrost. So, and this bridge connects Asgard with Midgard, right? Heaven and earth. And this is a rune which describes the origin of man, and from the divine order and the divine descent of humans. It represents the mystery of humanity and the runic structure in the human soul. So, yes, the runic structure in the human soul. Yes, you got this right. So, Mannaz is the power of human intelligence, reason, memory, of course, and again, tradition. So, it is the rune sign of the perfect man. So, in the perfect human being, the initiate of one of the many cults of the old faith. So Mannaz is like androgynous, archetypal being, and its mystery embodies like the power, of androgyny, and in the psychological sphere of humanity. So, and the rune represents the establishment of the blood brotherhood. So, again, that we are all one, that we are connected, and that we are connected with our ancestors as well, and that we just have to reach out to get the information. It is there. We just have to see it, and I mentioned that before. At one point we will open our eyes and we see things like, and think they've never been there, but they've always been there. It's just that we see like through newborn eyes, you can say. So from the magical aspect of the rune, Mannaz promotes, like I mentioned, the spiritual development on all levels, and it expands your consciousness. So Mannaz helps to overcome mental difficulties and balancing the good and the bad side of one. Okay? So, and Mannaz also promotes intelligence and your memory and mental power, like in general. It's balancing the poles of personality. So, it's opening the spiritual eye, the Hugauga, so the consciousness of the divine structure of humanity, right? So this is what I mean, the inner eye. So with the help of Mannaz, the divine spark is activated in us, and thus serves us as a gateway to connect with gods and other beings. So you can manifest wishes very well. I'm talking about the magical aspect now, just to throw that in there. But again, be aware of abuse. So if you use, just saying that, throwing that in there again, you know I like to do that, right? I have to. So back to the magical. If you use Mannaz with answers, for example, in a ritual or as a binding rune, you have a good chance, you know, if you want to pass an exam, for example. So, and wearing the rune as an amulet, it blesses your marriage, your partnership, and other forms of collaborations in your life with your tribe, your clan, your friends. And also an amulet helps against separation and release magic. So the talisman for the love and magic union, right, like I said, and you can also use it very well as a protection and defense rune, because it blocks like thoughts and thought projections of other beings and misjudgment of others. But again, be aware not to misuse it. So the rune stands for the people living in harmony with its two sides. Again, good and bad. So neutral, it aims at the healing person. I mean, the person that is to be healed, right? And positively supports the healing process. So, or misused, or to give you warning, it can throw you completely confused. Okay, so that's why I'm always, be careful. And also, again, like every other rune, it has healing properties. So, and in this case, it's responsible for your feet and your ankles. What else? Drains. And also in the mental aspect, it's elimination of self-delusion and mental derangements, and harmonization of your modulation. So, and with the self-delusion and mental derangement, I mean, I'm sure if you experience it too or see it in others, some go too quick, right, and get lost on the way, or they don't balance themselves out, or feel drawn by something, like either feel drawn by the darkness or feel drawn by the light, but neither one is good if it's not balanced out. So in that, can also lead to mental damage. So in general, not only rune related, is very important that you always ground yourself no matter what work you do. It's really important. Trust me. I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of people losing it, and in my life. So yeah. So if you pull the rune or draw the rune during an oracle, just drawing the runes, right? Could be many messages for you. So it's about your humanity, the attitude to others, and your attitude to yourself or your friends and enemies, family, your community, right? Can give you a message about social bonding, intelligence, tolerance, self-knowledge, spiritual power. So, yeah, it could tell you all this. This is you're striving the right way. And in reverse, it can also give you warning against depression or self-deception, underhandness and miscalculations, right? But just again, if you meditate with a rune, it could be, giving you a complete different message, because every message is for the individual. So, and that's why I don't do collective rune readings at all, because it's not really working, right? And also the message could be the man, his clan, his ancestors, the gods, the cosmos, because everything is one. And the individual that can gain access to the knowledge of all. So that's what it can tell you as well. So, and one recognizes the essence of humanity, and one takes people as they really are, and not as one would like them, or as the system requires them to do. Okay? So, if you expect others to accept you the way you are and see you for what you are, it goes kind of, you gotta give it back. Don't expect people to be the way you would like them to be. Okay? So, yeah, and if you want to work on any of these points, when okay, I need a little more opening to myself, I need to find, where to balance, what to do, how can I find my social status, whatever it is of the points I just talked. Of course, you can work with this rune then during a meditation and to connect with this. So it's literally you're the one asked for action, the action of the initiated, the shaman, the magician, because the way of destiny is the way of growth and fulfillment. So, and it's challenging, it really is for each of us. So, if you're willing to take those challenges, it's a long way. You will cry, you will laugh, you will be angry, but it will lead you to fulfillment, So, then I want to talk a bit about Heimdall. So, and he's also called Ering or Rig, and he's a protective god of Norse mythology and god of morning sunlight and the daylight. Heimdall is the son of 9 mothers, the Aegeus daughters, and I hope I'm pronouncing the names right. So any specialist listening, I'm sorry. So Heimdall lives in the sky mountains, Himmingbjörg. So which is, how can I translate it? Like Heaven's Castle, kinda. I can't translate it better. His father is Odin. So, and originally he was probably an all-knowing god of heaven, like I said that before. And he's also called the Ram god, the Aries, the Ram. So I don't know which word to pick in English, the Aries or the Ram. And the Ram is sacred to him, and of whose cult traces are found everywhere in the Germanic area, right? And I found it interesting that our moon just has entered Aries, isn't that so? I think, if I'm correct. So the god keeper Heimdall needs less sleep than a bird, it says, and he sees 100 miles at night as in the daytime, and hears the grass on the ground and the wool grows on the sheep. So, and in other pictures by Heimdall, he wears gold teeth. So, which he is also called Halinskidi, and the name of his horse, Gulltoppera, points to this. It's called gold braid, and that points to this material of gold, right? So Heimdall, like Balder, is kind and a bright god, and he's actually the guardian of gods, right? He guards the heavenly bridge of the rainbow Bifrost, and his horn, Galliahorn, is preserved under Yggdrasil's root. So, and once Heimdall will announce the beginning of Ragnarok by blowing into the Galliahorn. Okay, but as I said, for me, Ragnarok, we're in the middle of it. So Heimdall's fierce enemy is Loki. So, and Heimdall and Loki are the total opposites. So while Loki is deceitful, Heimdall is good-natured, gentle and wise. So, and to Ragnarok, the two rivals will meet, and in a duel, both gods will probably kill each other. But I personally see that as a symbolic, right? It's the fight between good and evil. So, and this way, balance can get created only then, and we all know that. And it's our balance too. We fight with our inner demons and the good and the bad in us. So, and also on this planet, it's happening right now, the fight between good and evil. Okay, so but that's just my opinion to that. So, but until the end comes, Heimdall will enjoy his comfortable home with liters of meat. So, yeah, and with this rune, there goes, of course, the Vilja, and this one is the hawk. So the hawk is a fast and nimble hunter, as we know, and the hawk invites you to draw from your innermost and to bring new impulses, to bring employment. So the hawk gives us the gift of quick approach to new life circumstances, and it helps us to rely on our vitality and to keep cool head, even if, you know, we have difficult situations. And if you look at him, he's quick and he's agile, he flights, and his keen eyes, and they encourage you, like his eyes encourage you to be clear about things and to trust your intuition unconditionally, and don't think with your head, think with your gut feeling, right? Open your inner eye. So, and he's also the animal of the sun and the courage to bring light into the dark realms, and of the personality, and to draw from the transformation, you know, transformation of the same power. So, you know, use the wisdom of the darkness, what you learned from it. Do it make sense? I hope so. So, yeah, he encouraged you, to take a look at yourself, to become who you are and take your place in society, the way you are good and beautiful. I apologize, my throat is funny today. But I'm also talking all day at work on the phone, so I apologize. And with this goes also the grapevine, and I'm gonna use it as the tree and the plant. So a little story about the grapevine or the wine in general. So the Egyptian god Osiris, he gave his wife Isis his blood in a cup to drink as wine, so that she will never forget him. And I want to go somewhere with that, so just bear with me. I mean, we all know that wine symbolizes blood, right? In certain cults. So and the vine was a symbol of well-being and wealth in the ancient, Near East. And hardly any plant mentioned in the Bible has developed such a rich symbolism that lives on in Judaism as well as Christianity. So, guests were welcomed with bread and wine. And bread and wine stood beside that 7-branched candle thingy, the candelabrum. And let's move a little on. And in the Gospel of John, Jesus even equates himself with wine. And he says there, I am the true vine, and my Father is a husbandman who cuts off all unfruitful impulses. I am the vine, and you are the vine. So, I'm saying nothing. And as with Dionysus, the symbolism of fertility is at the center of the spirit of wine. So even in Fricktal, it's in Switzerland, young women pour red wine into their lap to become fruitful, and it was a symbol also of the first menstrual blood in addition. So, and even eating grapes and raisins should increase fertility. So a tradition already used by the Romans to say, and the combination of wine and menstruation is also expressed in this notion. So when a woman who has just got a period comes in the vicinity of the wine, it gets sore. So, some food for your thoughts, why this tradition is kept up in certain cults. So, and why are some, allowed to drink from it and some others are not? Not that I would drink blood, but I'm talking about the symbolism here, right? And also about the blood. So, not that I'm going to drink blood, thank you very much, but I'm good. But I mentioned before, and this is just my opinion, what I'm saying now. This has nothing to do with any historical or whatever, just saying that before people are like, where did you read that? That's just my thoughts, because I always think about stuff, right? Yeah, I do that really. Like I said, blood, in our blood we carry our, our ancestors, I would say. We carry our knowledge, where we come from. We carry our knowledge, who we are. We can gain more knowledge out of it. It's connected with us, right? So, and of course, we have those cults out there that do not wish us to have that knowledge. So I'm not even getting into freaking blood magic. I don't. I totally don't. That has nothing to do here. So that is what they are doing. Those people is going beyond. It is part of it, I believe, but they're taking it the wrong way. So yeah, that was just my thought to it. Why this tradition keeps on so long and why wine is so important and such a symbol. So, but also the symbolism of fertility is always connected with the dying and the becoming. So, and that's with the passage into the underworld and the reappearance. So the wine is a symbol of the renewing year as well. And the spilled blood is at the same time a symbol of death and life. It should be. Like I said, certain cultures don't go there. So, and what that spirit of the plant does for us, it supports our own power, and it helps to make meaningful use of it, and it does not overpower it. So it helps to selfless service and understanding for the individuality of others. So the wine is the spirit of life. And talk to the vine if you're there, the grapevine. So I hope I totally make sense. I don't want to bash the other cult too much. Because again, that's what they chose, right? So let's come to the medical properties of that grapevine. So you can use the whole thing completely. It's beautiful. So the leaves, they are taken as a tea or tincture. I can't talk today. They're good for gout, for rheumatism. If you feel sick and if you're throwing up. Also, if you have frost damage, like being out in the cold too long, a salve or a tincture outside, on the skin can help. Even if you have crackly hands and feet. Internal, it's also for ulcers and also external ulcers or eczema, or if you have wounds that are a little festering, blemishes, bleeding. And also one of the one good applications for is it for varicose veins, and you use the red wine leaves for that one. So, and also the blossoms, they're good for strengthening your nerves. And you can even eat the unripe grapes because they're good for headaches from heat, like heat strokes, or for stomach pain, even if you might not believe it, but the unripe grapes are good for stomach pain. And then, of course, we have the ripe grapes. Of course, we know, it's coming out of those, right? But besides the wine, they're blood producing, they're strengthening, they help, they work as a blood purifier, can help during obesity, liver disease, constipation, so here and there a glass of wine is not that bad at all. It just, again, the amount does it, right? But yeah, I mean, luckily there is grapefruit juice, you know. But from the blossoms you can make a tea. From the leaves you can make a tincture and oil for the external parts. So yeah, very nice, and it all goes hand in hand with Mannaz, and yeah, supports the healing properties of Mannaz, like I said, you know, for your feet, and yeah, you know, if nerve strengthening, yeah, for strength, you know, feet, ankles, like I said before. I think I said it 3 times now. Yeah, so that was it for today. I will be back next week, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I am thinking to maybe start a webinar in a little round, in a small round, to maybe get a little more into the binding runes, because I can't really do that like I did now to explain it. It goes too deep, so I can't really do that. There's too many possibilities to do it, and it's, again, each person is different. Each person may see it different, you know. So I'm thinking about doing that. So maybe you can leave me a little comment what you would think about it, if anyone would be interested. I wasn't thinking about doing that, but I was asked to do it. So yeah, that was it for tonight. I thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all next week. Much love, and stay safe. Trust in yourself, because you're beautiful. Use everything that is available. Use the tree, the herbs, use the crystals. Use your gut feeling, you know. Yeah. Much love to you all. Bye-bye.